Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. We are in the last Wednesday of July. Can everybody believe it? We're almost in August. This year is flying by. Well, as people come in, I'm going to ask if you can just drop in your name, where you're from, and what kind of business you're in. And I'm going to give us about a minute or two. I don't want to give us too much time or take up too much time before we start the presentation. But I really want to just mingle, get to know you. If you are catching this on the replay, please drop in your name, what you do, who you are in the comments. I'd love to learn more about you, get to know you, see how I can connect with you. So, yes. So we'll wait about another minute. I'm gonna check a few things on my phone real quick. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started so you can respect your time. And whoever joins us, joins us. So bear with me. I'm about to share my screen. All right. All right. I am sharing. Let's see if you guys can see it. All right. We are good to go. All right. So, first of all, I want to welcome you to Sis Brunch. I am so glad that you're here. If this is your first time joining us, Sis Brunch is a free weekly workshop where women entrepreneurs come together and we learn practical ways to attract more clients, save more time, and just build a business that can keep moving without having to do everything manually. So we like to grab our coffee, tea, matcha, water, mimosa, lunch, whatever you're sipping on today, grab that and pull up a seat at the brunch table because we're going to get into how we can help each other save so much time in our businesses and really focus on our zone of genius. And that's what we want to focus on in our business. So before we get started, I'd love for you to introduce yourself in the chat. Again, tell me your name, what you do, and where you're joining us from. And today's question that I want to also add onto that is, how many jobs did you do before you even made it to lunch today? Were you doing your receptionist, marketer, salesperson? Tell me some of the jobs that you've been doing today before you even got to lunch. Okay, because drop it in the chat because I know most of us are wearing like at least 5 hats before 10 a.m. So drop it in the chat. So I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Chelsea. I am the founder of Saasy Boss. I help women entrepreneurs attract more clients, save time, and simplify their business using marketing, automation, AI, and easy to use business systems. For the last few weeks, we've been tackling a lot of individual topics. Some of the topics include Your invisible assistant. Go back and listen to that if you can on the replay. That's basically the tool that we use to help automate our business. We talked about attracting leads. We talked about how to create content quickly. And we talked about the AI front desk, which we'll talk a little bit more about today. But today we're zooming out a little bit because you may not be ready to hire 5 people right now, right? But you shouldn't have to personally do 5 different jobs every single day. So let's talk about it, get comfortable, and let's dive into today's Sis Brunch. Okay. So first I want to talk to you about something that really shifted the way I see how I run my business. In business, we always think we need to be more productive, and we're constantly busy, and we're trying to be more productive, and we're trying to be a better planner and a better, have a better schedule so that we can make sure we get all the things that we need to do done, and have better time management. But honestly, when I really looked at it and I pulled back and zoned out on like, what is it that actually was a problem, is that I was expecting one person, to do the work of an entire team. Okay. Every successful business, no matter what industry you're in, has these 5 jobs happening every single day. Marketing is the first thing. Someone needs to make sure that people know your business exists, right? Whether you're posting on social media, sending out emails, asking for referrals, or running ads, someone has to consistently bring new people through the door, right? And then we have the front desk. That's someone, when someone reaches out, or when a potential client reaches out, someone has to greet them, answer their questions, make them feel welcome, and help them take the next step before they lose interest, right? Then we have the sales department. Because not everyone books the first time they inquire, because life happens, they can get distracted, they want to think about it. But someone has to follow up and continue the conversation, and that is the job of sales, to encourage them to book. And then there's customer service. So once somebody actually does become a client, someone has to take care of them, send them appointment reminders, answer questions, share preparation instructions, follow up afterward, ask for a review, and encourage them to come back. And then lastly, there's operations, because behind the scenes, someone has to keep everything running, organizing projects and managing tasks. They also need to remember what needs to happen tomorrow. It keeps the business from feeling like controlled chaos. And here's what I want you to notice. I never said you had to do all 5 of those things. I said every business has these 5 jobs, right? But somewhere along the line, most of us decided that if our business was going to succeed, we personally had to own every single one. I know sometimes I have a control problem. Like, it's hard for me to sometimes hand off things to other people. And I know that's something that I'm working on, right? Because sometimes it's like, well, if you want it done right, do it yourself, kind of thing. And that's not a good attitude to have, especially as a business owner. You will burn out if you are constantly trying to do every single thing in your business and wear every hat. And that's why so many business owners are exhausted by the end of the day. They're simply trying to work the job of 5 different people. But the beautiful part is you don't need 5 employees tomorrow. You just need to stop believing that every single one of these jobs has to be done by you. So today I'm going to introduce to you 5 AI assistants. Each one is designed to support each of those jobs so you can spend more time doing what only you can do. Only you can do. And if you're not ready to hire, this is a great way to have something that's in your business doing some, getting out there, doing the things that you need to do so that you can focus on what you need to do. And it's much less expensive than hiring 5 individual people to do all these jobs. Okay, so before I talk about the 5 AI employees, I want to paint a real scenario for you. Paint a picture of a real scenario with what a small business owner may deal with every day. Okay, so I want you to meet Ashley. Okay, Ashley owns a lash studio, and from the outside, everything looks great. She's talented and she's passionate about what she does. Her clients love coming to see her. People recommend her to their friends, and her calendar is blowing up. Okay, so Ashley is doing well. If you looked at her Instagram, you'd probably be like, "Wow, she's doing great. Wow, I'm so proud of Ashley." But what you don't see is every morning Ashley wakes up already thinking about her business. She's wondering who still she needs to respond to. She's trying to remember she remembers that she forgot to post her content. She hopes that she didn't miss an important message overnight. She knows someone asked about her pricing, but can't remember who that she needs to respond to. And then she gets to work and the first client walks in. And for the next 2 hours, Ashley is exactly what she should be doing. Focus on the person that's sitting in front of her. But while she's working, the business doesn't stop, right? New people are discovering her on Instagram. Someone is asking if she has appointments next week. Someone wants to know her prices. A previous client is wondering when they should book again. Another client wants to reschedule. Her inbox keeps growing while she's doing the work she loves. And Ashley just simply needs to realize that she's doing the work of more than she can realistically do. So let's follow Ashley through one normal Tuesday and see what happens. Okay. Hold on real quick before we drop off. I'm just going to check and see if anybody else has joined. Okay. All right. So let's talk about Ashley and follow her through her normal Tuesday. Okay. And while we do this, I want you to think about your own business. See if any of these moments feel familiar to you. Okay. So at 9:15 in the morning, Ashley is with her very first client of the day. She's doing what she feels like she's doing best, making her clients feel beautiful. Then her phone lights up. A woman who found her on Instagram sends her a message. "Hi, what are your prices?" Now Ashley has a decision to make, right? Does she stop what she's doing and answer the message? Or does she stay focused on the client who's already in her chair? Most of us would say, of course, take care of the client first, right? But here's the problem. The woman that's asking about the pricing probably didn't just message Ashley. She likely reached out to 2 or 3 other lash artists too. And if no one responds within a couple hours, there's a good chance she'll book with someone else who answered first, right? And I wonder how many opportunities we've lost simply because we were busy doing our actual job. So here's 11:30 rolls around, right? And so by that time, Ashley gets a break and she grabs her phone and she opens Instagram and she immediately realizes she hasn't posted in almost a week. Can you relate to that? I know I can. I'm like, dang, I need to post. Dang, I need to post. That's like constantly on my mind. Dang, I need to post. I need to constantly get some content out there so people know that I'm here. So now she has another choice to make, right? Does she spend her lunch break creating content, or does she actually eat lunch? It's funny because those are the kinds of decisions that many small business owners make every single day. And while she's trying to decide, she knows staying visible matters. And if people stop seeing your business, they eventually stop thinking about it. Okay, so 2 o'clock rolls around. Okay, so later that afternoon, something pops up in Ashley's head. Oh no, I never followed up with that lady who asked about booking yesterday. It wasn't intentional. She wasn't ignoring her. She just got busy and the day got away from her, right? I think we've all had those moments where we fully intend to follow up and then another client walks in, the phone rings, or life just happens, right? Sometimes we don't lose a client because they said no. Sometimes we lose them because the conversation simply stopped. Okay, so 5:30 rolls around. The last client leaves, but Ashley's workday isn't over. Tomorrow's clients still need appointment reminders. Someone has a question about how to prepare for their appointment. Another client wants to reschedule. Someone else needs aftercare instructions. These are all important parts of running a great business, but they all take time. Lastly, 9 p.m. rolls around. So finally, Ashley gets home. She sits down on the couch thinking about what else she needs to do for the day. And then she remembers she needs to order supplies for her lash business. She forgot to send an invoice. She hasn't planned tomorrow yet. She still had a list of little things running through her mind that she doesn't want to forget. And she closes her laptop knowing that she'll probably wake up tomorrow and do it all over again. And I don't think Ashley is unique. I think this is what running a small business looks like for a lot of us. So let me ask you a question. What part of Ashley's day felt the most familiar to you? Was it the missed messages, the content she never had time to create, the leads she meant to follow up with, the client communication, or ending the day with a never-ending to-do list? Because here's what I want you to see. Ashley doesn't need to become more productive. She just needs more support. All right. So before I introduce the AI business team to you, I want to explain what I mean by an AI employee. Because most people are using AI, but they're mainly chatting, using the chat function in ChatGPT or Claude, right? So you might ask Chat or Claude to write something or give you an idea or answer a question for you. And then you copy the response and take it from there. And that can save time, but you're still at the center of every task. We call this a human in the loop. You are still revolving around all the tasks still revolve around you to make a decision to actually take the action, right? Now, don't get me wrong, using the chat can save time, but you're still at the center. You have to notice that what needs to happen. You have to notice what needs to happen. You have to start the conversation. You have to give the instructions. You have to make sure that the work gets finished, right? An AI employee has a defined role and a process to follow. It can take on more of the work from the beginning to the end while you stay involved for review, approval, and the decisions that actually need you. For example, instead of asking AI to write one follow-up message, imagine having a sales assistant that recognizes a new lead, prepares the right response, and keeps the follow-up moving and brings anything important to you for approval. One helps you with a task. The other one takes the responsibility for a job, right? Now let's meet the 5 employees that could have changed Ashley's entire day. Okay, so let's talk about these 5 employees. So the first one is the AI front desk, right? Ashley needs someone at her front desk. At 9:15 a.m., right? That new lead messaged her when she was with a client. An AI front desk could have responded immediately answered her basic questions, shared Ashley's pricing and or service options, collected her information, and helped her take the next step moving forward towards booking, right? It could also respond to inquiries about business hours, direct people to the right service, explain policies, answer questions that Ashley gets over and over, her FAQs, right? So instead of a potential client sitting in the inbox for 2 hours, that person feels acknowledged and knows exactly what to do next. Ashley can stay focused on the client in front of her without worrying that she's losing, the next client. The AI marketing assistant is the next one, right? So then at 11:30 a.m., if you remember, Ashley realizes she hasn't posted all day, right? Her AI marketing assistant could help her plan her content based on what her customers are already asking about, turn one idea into several posts, write captions, draft emails, promote an opening on her schedule, or help her create a campaign around a new service. It can even research common concerns Lash clients have and turn them into educational content that builds trust. But Ashley still would bring her personality, her expertise, and her real life experience, but she wouldn't start from a blank page every day, every time, right? Instead, using her lunch break trying to think of something to post, she could review what she prepared, make it sound like her, and move on with her day. The next employee is the AI sales assistant. So remember at 2 p.m., Ashley remembered the woman that she meant to follow up with. That's where the AI sales assistant comes in. Its job is to keep interested people from falling through the cracks. It could follow up after someone asks about a service, remind them to complete their booking, nurture someone who isn't ready yet, and reconnect with past clients who haven't returned in a while. It can also help Ashley keep track of where each lead is in the process, so she doesn't need to remember every conversation herself. And the follow-up doesn't have to feel pushy. It could be as simple as answering another question, sharing a testimonial, reminding someone about availability, or checking whether they still need help choosing a service. The woman from yesterday wouldn't be forgotten just because Ashley got busy. The next assistant or AI assistant is the AI customer service assistant. So by 5:30, Ashley is done taking her appointments and her clients still need support, right? So her AI customer service assistant could send appointment reminders, preparation instructions, aftercare information, rescheduling links, rebooking messages, and review requests. It could also answer common questions from people who have already booked, like what do you do before an appointment, how to care for your lashes afterward, or when should you schedule a fill. This is different from a AI front desk because the front desk takes care of the people before they become clients, where customer service supports them after they've booked. But that helps Ashley deliver a thoughtful, consistent experience without manually sending the same information over and over to her clients. Lastly, the AI operations assistant. This is the guy that runs everything behind the scenes. So remember at 9 p.m., Ashley got home, but she remembered she's trying to organize everything in her head that's still running through her mind and the things that she needs to do. Her AI operations assistant helps behind the scenes work that keeps the business moving. It could organize her task lists, create a plan for the next day, document the steps that she follows in her business, research vendors. It could compare software, summarize information, prepare checklists, or help her keep track of supplies and reoccurring responsibilities. It could take something Ashley normally holds in her head and turn it into a clear process. So instead of her sitting on the couch trying to remember everything she forgot, It could open an organized plan and know what has been handled, what needs attention, and what can wait. Now, none of these employees are going to replace Ashley. They're not applying lashes. They're not building relationships with her clients. They're not are bringing care or expertise that make people choose her. But they are handling the work around her work. That's the part that I really want you to understand, that AI is valuable when it relieves you of a repetitive task, mental load, and keeps little responsibilities that keep interrupting your work, the work that only you can do. So Ashley may not need all 5 of these employees right away, right? Most businesses don't necessarily need all of them. But the better question is, which part of her business is taking up the most time, creating the most stress, or causing opportunities to slip through the cracks? That's probably the first employee you need. So now that we've met the 5 AI employees, the next question is, how do you actually build one? The good news is it's much simpler than most people think. You don't necessarily need to know how to code. You don't need expensive software. You only need to build, and honestly, you don't need to build all 5 of these employees this week. You just need one. I like to use what I call the BOSS framework. Okay. And that's the same process no matter which AI employee you're creating. So let me explain what this is. So the B stands for build the role, right? You're going to start by deciding exactly what job this employee has. Don't ask it to do everything. So that's a big thing that a lot of people do, is they try to put multiple roles into one employee. And just like a human employee, you overload it with too much, it starts to forget or not do things properly because it's doing everything instead of doing it's one specific task. You don't want a super agent. You want agents for each specific task that have very clear jobs. So what you would do is you ask yourself, if I can hire someone tomorrow, what would I hire them to do? That's this B step. Maybe it's answering new inquiries. It could be creating weekly content. It could be following up with leads. But one employee, one primary responsibility. Okay. The O stands for onboard your employee, right? You teach it about your business. This is where you give it the information a new employee would need on their first day. So you tell it what your business does, who your ideal customer is, what services you offer, how much you want to communicate, what your goals are. And the more context you give it, the better it can represent your business. The first S is set the system. Now, that's where we create a process. Think about the steps you follow every time you complete that job. So if it's your marketing assistant, maybe it's researching a topic, writing a caption, creating an email, and then asks you for approval. If it's the front desk, maybe it asks, it answers common questions. It helps someone book. It gives somebody the address or phone number. Well, they're probably calling you if they're calling front desk, but gives someone the address or information they need to find your location. And it lets you know when there's a need for a real person. So you're creating the playbook that your AI employee will follow every time. And the last step is S, send it to work. Finally, give it an assignment. Don't test it with something random. Give it an actual work from your business. So have it write tomorrow's social media posts, or organize your calendar, or draft a client email, or answer frequently asked questions. 1 second, my computer said it's low battery, and I want to make sure we're good. Okay. But just like a real employee, it gets better the more you work together. Okay. So now enough talking. I really want to show you. I'm going to build an AI employee with you today. We're going to build AI, Ashley's AI marketing assistant together. So I already did some prep work because due to time, I want to make sure we had enough time. But I want you to see exactly what I did and what it looks like. So let's get started. So let me exit out of this. Okay. Okay. So the first thing I did, bear with me. So in order to build the assistant, I actually am using Claude. You can use it in Chat GPT or Claude. Um, but the first thing I want to do is I create the employee, right? That was the first step. So remember, every employee has a role. So in order to do this, and I'm just going to show you kind of what this looks like. If you clicked on projects here in Claude, and Chat has the same thing. Let me pull this up. Okay. So Chat has the same thing. So if you click on projects, I just want you to see what this looks like. You would click on new project. You would name the project and you would give it what are you trying to achieve. So describe the project, the goals, and the subject. You can actually use Claude or Chat GPT to help you answer these questions too. So you can say, I'm trying to build this employee. You can actually go to a chat and say, I'm trying to build this employee. Help me with my project goal, subject, and all of that. So here you would just name it Ashley's marketing AI assistant, or you can give the employees a name. I like to sometimes give them names. So let's just call the employee. You could say it's Chloe. That's what I named mine. But anyway, so I already created one. So I just wanted to show you where you would go. So you would create the project, and once you create it, it would come to this section, right? So in here, you have to give it instructions. So this is where you would, hold on real quick. I just want to make sure I'm showing you or following the framework. So this is where you actually tell it what its job duties are, right? So in the instructions, I literally just put in, like I said, I use this and use ChatGPT to come up with this information. I had it ask me questions about the business so that it could give me a full, clear prompt. So it says, you are an AI marketing assistant for Ashley's Lash Studio, right? Your role is to help Ashley stay visible, promote her services, attract the right clients, and create organized marketing content that supports bookings while saving her time. Now, on here, it actually gives, it's like a job description. It gives your primary responsibilities, what you need to do. So the responsibilities are to plan weekly marketing themes and campaigns, write social media captions, draft promotional and educational emails, just to name a few. But there's several things that it's saying that are part of this job description, right? And it says you require resources. So you actually tell it, okay, before you complete the assignment, make sure you review this information. I'm going to show you the resources in a minute that I uploaded in here, which I also created with ChatGPT. I'll show you. But Ashley's AI Marketing Assistant Employee Handbook, the current business goal, the approved offer or service being promoted, and any additional instructions Ashley provides. It also talks about how you should communicate. So be warm and personable, professional, but not stiff, feminine and confident. So these are ways to make sure that the AI employee knows how to talk to your client. Like, how do you talk as a human? How do you talk to your clients? And you can even tell it like specific words that you might say. I always say words like sis and queen and girl and all those kind of things. So I make sure that that's in my instructions, so it knows how to talk to my audience. It also says what to avoid. That's not only do you tell it what to do, but also tell it what not to do. So avoid robotic or overly formal language, aggressive sales pressure. Like, excessive emojis. I know in a lot of AI written content uses a lot of emojis. So you want to make sure that it knows, hey, that's, that's a clear indicator that AI wrote this. So but yes, and then content standards. What are the things that you were trying to talk about in each of your content? So educate your audience, build trust, create connection. Another thing it tells it to do is don't invent prices or services. Sometimes AI can invent information if it doesn't know it. So you just want to make sure you're clear that it says only refer to these documents. And then the call to action. So call to action is just basically, what are you asking the person to do at the end of your social media post, right? Or email. And it says examples could be book your appointment online, save this for your next lash appointment, send Ashley a message with your questions. You can give it very specific directions. And then treat everything as a draft. So this is a way for checks and balances. So especially before you really build a system and when you're still training your employee, you want to make sure it knows what to say, what to do first. So you want to make sure it says, okay, treat this as a draft and make sure that I approve it before you post it or send it out, right? Because it can manually send it out. It can send it out for you. And then it gives a final quality check. So I just really wanted to show you what that looks like, the instructions. And then remember, we talked about create the process. So the process is I'm sorry. I want to make sure I show you the handbook. So the handbook was, hold on real quick. I'm going to pull it up. So this employee handbook is what gives it, that's part of this process of the training. Remember, ChatGPT wrote this for me. I just want you to know this is a simple guide that it made. But basically, and remember, this is training purposes, so it's not as detailed as I would do it. It's like, again, as much information as you can give it, the better. So in here, it talks about the business. Ashley's Lash Studio is a boutique beauty business that helps busy women feel polished, confident, and cared for through professional lash and brow services. So it goes into detail about that. Ideal client, women ages 25 to 45, including professionals, entrepreneurs, and busy moms. Values convenience, quality, self-care. So who is your ideal client? What do they do? What do they look like? What kind of job do they have? How do they spend their money? All of those things are important to give to this assistant. Services and offers. So they need to know what your service is, how much it's for, and what it's best for is a great thing. So it knows when to recommend what, your current promotions, your brand voice. So remember, we had that in the instructions too, but this is just a more detailed document that gives exactly, it's like a brand guide or employee handbook that you would hand a new employee. Core marketing messaging, content themes. So we talked about that: education, lash care, appointment preparation, trust, Ashley's expertise, client experiences, cleanliness, and personalized recommendations, transformation, connection, and promotion. Your responsibilities. So this is where you're telling it what to do. This is similar again to what we had in the instructions, but just in more detail. Tells it plan simple weekly marketing themes tied to Ashley's current goal, write social media captions. It goes into detail about exactly what it wants to do. Repurpose one idea into multiple pieces of content. It even has the frequently asked questions and the answers that she gets asked all the time. Rules and boundaries. So remember, not just rules, like not just what to do, but what not to do. So the boundaries, don't invent prices. We talked about that. Don't publish post, send, schedule, purchase, or change anything without Ashley's approval. Again, that could change, or that depends on your business or how much you trust your AI assistant. Eventually, you'll trust it enough to do things on its own. But at first, I would always ask for approval, what success looks like, and it kind of just gives it, before completing any assignment, what it needs to do, right? So I wanted to share that with you so you could see that. Another thing that I uploaded in here, and just so you know, you can always upload this into upload from device. You can upload your context so it knows, it has resources to go back to and make sure it's doing things appropriately or the way that you want them to. So the second thing, is the set the system, right? Was the next step, and that is the SOPs. So SOP stands for Standard Operating Procedures. So I also had AI create. Hold on, let me pull this over here so you can see it. I won't go into too much detail, but I just kind of want you to see it has exactly what to do. So it's weekly. What do I do each week? What is the standard operating procedure? What do I need to do each week, and what I need to get done, right? So this SOP explains how Ashley's AI marketing assistant should create simply weekly marketing plan that helps Ashley stay visible, build trust, and encourage bookings, right? So it basically says, okay, review the business information. So remember, we just went over the employee handbook. So review that, her ideal client, her brand voice, all of those things, right? And then it says confirm the weekly goal. And the goal she identified was to fill open appointments, to promote a specific service, introduce a new offer, educate potential clients, reconnect with past clients, and build trust with new followers. Select one weekly theme. So you just telling it, okay, what are some of the weekly themes that we want to discuss, and we'll talk about that in all of our pieces of content. So like easier morning routines, lash appointment preparation, the difference between lash styles, lash aftercare. The fourth step is create the weekly content mix. So Ashley is requesting that we create 3 social media posts a week, 1 short form video idea, 1 promotional or educational email, and 3 to 5 Instagram story ideas. Remember, the weekly content should be a balanced mix of education, trust, connection, transformation, and promotion. And then lastly, write each piece of content. So for each social media post, include the content category, suggested posting day, hook, caption, call to action, suggested visual or video, and an optional story follow-up. Draft the email. And it goes into detail about what she wants the email to be. Check the content. So before it does it, it needs to support the weekly goal. All of these things. These are the things to make sure, checks and balances to make sure that it's following what she wants and not going out of the scope of what she's requesting. And then present the draft for approval. So I just wanted to share with you some of those things so you can see them. But both of these have been uploaded in here. And then what I did, and I already pre-did this for you because I wanted to show you. So I went into to start a chat. So now that you've done this, we actually are saying, okay, the last S was I think send. And you're sending the employee the instructions of what to do, right? So I use co-work. So the difference is, so chat really is you're chatting with it. It's giving you information. Co-work can actually perform the task for you. So that's the biggest difference between the two. So I selected co-work, and then I gave it a prompt. Okay. The prompt I gave it, and I actually had ChatGPT create this prompt for me to give Claude. You can actually ask Claude to give it to. I just was already working in ChatGPT, so either one will work. But create Ashley's weekly marketing plan using the Ashley's AI marketing assistant project, employee handbook, and weekly marketing content SOP. Create 3 social media posts, 1 short form video idea, 3 to 5 Instagram story ideas, and 1 promotional or educational email. Okay. So, with the information it has, remember it's all in the project. So, that's basically the place where it houses everything it needs to refer back to. And then it asked me on here, hey, would you like to schedule this? Because it says schedule this task to run Monday at 9 a.m. So it asked me, um, hey, do you approve of me scheduling this task? And I said yes, right? And they said, okay, the draft is ready. So then I just want to show you, it created a draft of the weekly plan. And it says the goal, the theme, the summary. And then on here, it actually goes into detail about Monday, this is what you post, education, help, and then it goes into more detail about each of those posts. So post 1, choosing the right lash style. It tells you the hook, it tells you the caption, the call to action, suggested visual. Post 2, the appointment experience. Your appointment should feel like a reset, not one more thing on your to-do list. So yeah, so it goes through and actually creates the post for the week. And then it gave me story ideas. Give a poll, classic or volume, which lash look calls to you? Behind the scenes photo or clip of the studio being set up for today's appointments. So it is giving you all the information you need. And the email draft, letting them know there's a little room opened up this next week for appointments. It did, and then it came back and said, "Hey, we still need more information." Now, remember, this is not a real lash artist, so this is an example, but it's asking, "Hey, no link was provided. Can you give me the link so I can enter the link in there for booking?" Please confirm the number and specific days of the week openings are still available, so it's accurate. You can, and it's saying, oh, your studio location was not included. So it comes back and it checks and balances itself to make sure that, hey, I noticed that I didn't have this information, so I couldn't complete everything that you asked me to do appropriately the way that I would normally do it if I had this information. So now that, let me go back. So then I said, okay, now that you've created this, I went over this on a previous Boss Sis Brunch, but I basically, you can utilize Claude, connect Claude to Canva, and have it create carousels for you, and you can also connect it to a lot of other tools too. But that was like a game changer for me when I was like, wow, like you can actually connect it to Canva and it'll create things for you, so you don't have to do it. Even if you want to edit it and change it or update it or whatever, it's still can create it for you and get you started, right? So you're not working from nothing. And it can use your brand, your colors, your information. So I thought that was so cool. So I said, hey, take the educational social media post from this plan and turn it into 5-slide Instagram Instagram carousel in Canva. And then I just gave it extra instructions, keep the wording concise and easy to read, that kind of thing, right? So remember, this is an example. So I don't have a brand kit or anything loaded in Canva for it. So it started looking through templates, right? And looking through ways where it can make it right. We just said, all I said is I want it to look feminine and soft. So it gave me these soft pinks and peach colors. So then it said, okay, I've created it. And then it asked me, now, would you like me to combine them all into one carousel on the same document? I said, yes. And then it gave me this, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So again, it probably needs a little work. Let me make this a little bigger. Needs a little work. but it's a start. And if I had more specific pictures, um, again, you can give Claude all of that information, and it could do it. Or you could, just so you know, the sky's the limit. You can actually have Claude take over do the research for you. Go onto your Instagram, look at your Instagram page, look at your YouTube channel, look at whatever you have that has your branding, your information, the way you talk to your clients. Um, you can send it that information, and it could actually go in and look at it. It can actually take over your browser, and it gets intense. I'm not going to go into full detail about that today, but it can actually go into your browser and do the research. It can even go into Google and look up, information about, um, whatever your particular client gravitates to. It can do the research for you. So it is amazing. So it created this 5 slide carousel. Again, if I had more specific instructions about my branding and stuff, it would probably look a little bit better. But I just want to give you a heads up on like that. It can just make this. Um, and in Canva, you can put your branding information in there. So you can even say, look at my brand kit, my logos, all that, and it can pop it in there. So that is, in a nutshell, how to create from A to Z. Not only just create your AI, this one is your marketing assistant, but you can actually also have it create the post. And I could actually ask it to post it for me or schedule it for me. I have a scheduling tool. I can actually have it take over my browser and have it schedule it for me. So it could do it from end to end, from beginning to end. Hey, do this for me, and it does it. And then you can again schedule it to every Monday at 9 a.m. run this and schedule this for me. So it is going to help you tremendously. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. Hold on real quick. Bear with me. Just make sure there's nobody in the chat. No? Okay. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Okay. So let me know if you have any questions about that. I know I went over that very quickly, and it was quite a bit of information in a short time, but I want you to see how you could build it in in one afternoon, you could build your full AI employee, you know? Um, so now that you've seen what this actually looks like, I want you to leave you with a challenge for the week. So every week we do a bosses challenge, which is your homework for the week. But don't go home and try to build 5 AI employees. Just build one. I know how easy it is to leave a workshop excited and you open ChatGPT and immediately start asking it to do everything. But that's usually when people get overwhelmed and decide the AI is too complicated. It's already so much information out there. So I would recommend focusing on one thing. Keep it simple. So think back to the 5 employees we talked about today. Which one would make the most difference in your business right now? I mean, really think about it. What made you the most excited? Where you were like, oh my gosh, if I could do this, this is the one thing I don't like doing, or I do all the time and it eats up so much of my time. Maybe it's the AI front desk where you're tired of answering the same questions every day. It could be marketing. Maybe it's really hard to stay consistent, or it feels impossible, which is true for a lot of us. Maybe it's sales because your leads are slipping through the cracks. Whatever that is, start there. Build one employee and give it one clear job, and then use it this week, not as practice, but actually use it to do real work in your business. Maybe it writes your next email. Maybe it creates your social media content. It could follow up with your leads. Maybe it organizes your week. The point isn't to build something perfect. It is to take one responsibility off your plate and let your AI employee own it. So when we meet again next week, I'd love to hear about what you built, what job you gave it, and what changed because of it. And you can even post it in the comments here if you're watching the replay. I would love to hear about what you actually go in and create, and or shoot me a message on Instagram at Sassy Boss. Okay, so let's see. So let's take a look. What's next? So I do want to offer to you, as a gift to you for being here and bearing with me today and going through all of this information. And I hope it was helpful for you. And my hope is that you don't leave here thinking I need 5 AI employees. I hope that you leave here thinking that I know which one would make the biggest difference in my business, because every business is different. Some of you need the front desk answering inquiries while you're with your clients. A lot of times that's more for physical locations or in-person businesses. But some of you, maybe you need to stay consistent with your marketing. Others, you need better follow-up. Maybe you need stronger client communication. Or maybe you need better behind-the-scenes organization. So that's exactly what we figure out during the AI strategy session. So I have a free discovery call that that I would love to offer to you, and we'll take a look at how your business operates today. Identify where you're spending the most time or losing the most opportunities, and we'll build a simple plan with AI support that makes the biggest difference. I want to give you more time to do what you do best. If today's workshop had you thinking, wow, that sounds like my business, I'd love to help you build your own AI team. So just either scan the QR code or visit sassyboss.com/strategy and book a free AI strategy session. And I'd love to learn more about your business and really help you take that next step. This is exciting. And my goal is to really figure out how I can help other entrepreneurs, specifically women entrepreneurs, with really figuring out ways to help save them time in their business. I think we all think we need to do every single thing, and that's not the case. And if you're anything like me, I'm a mama of an 18-month-old baby girl, and she is busy, and it's hard to do everything on my own. So having systems in place and automations in place and things in place to help me with remembering everything. I got a mama brain right now, and so it's sometimes hard to remember everything, and so this is a great way to help you deliver you of some of that stress. So before we move into Q&A, I really want to give you a preview of next week. So today we focus on building AI employees and giving them jobs to do. Next week, we're going to look at one job that could make a huge difference in your business, and that's following up. I can tell you how many, I deal with so many business owners, and I can't tell you how many that I deal with that think that they need more leads when in reality, they already have the people who are interested. They just never followed up, or maybe they never heard back from the people and they didn't follow up. And so after they didn't follow up, the conversation stopped. And it could be somebody who maybe filled out a contact form or sent you a DM or said, hey, let me think about it. And then their life got busy. And those aren't dead leads. They're just unfinished conversations. So next week, I'm going to show you how the AI front desk can continue those conversations for you. It can send follow-up texts, check in with leads, answer questions, help move people towards booking, all without you remembering to do it all on your own. Because money isn't always in getting more leads. It's a lot of times the money is in the follow-up with the leads that you already have. If you've ever looked back and thought, like, I forgot to respond to that person, or I wonder whatever happened to that inquiry, I don't want you to miss this next session. The fortune is in the follow up. The money is in the follow up. So please come next Wednesday, August 5th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and bring your business bestie. Who could use this information that that might be struggling with in some of these areas, or having challenges in some of these areas. Our goal is to help each other out. I'm such a firm believer in making sure that we bring each other up and help each other. So please, please, please check it out. So we're at the 2:00 mark, and I want to make sure I'm respecting time. So I would love to open up for questions. If anybody has any questions, I don't see anything in the chat yet. But if anything came to your mind during the workshop, go ahead and drop your question in the chat. And while you're typing, I always like to answer a few questions I hear all the time. Okay. So the first question I get often is, do I need all 5 employees? And definitely not is my answer. Most businesses don't need all 5 on day one. I always recommend starting with the area that's creating the biggest bottleneck in your business. Once that's working well, you can add another employee when you're ready. Another question I get is, which AI employees should I build first? And I say, ask yourself, what's stealing the most time or costing you the most money? If you're missing leads, start with the front desk. If you're inconsistent online and people don't know about you or about your business very much, start with marketing. If your follow-up is the problem, start with sales. But let your biggest challenge guide your first offer. So will AI sound like a robot? I know that's something that I get all the time. And honestly, only if you leave it on default settings. So if you have a well-trained AI employee, it should sound like you. It should understand your business, your personality, the way you naturally communicate with your clients, and really deliver the same experience that you would if you were answering the phone or emailing or texting or any of that. Do I have to be good with technology? Not at all. If you can use email, social media, Google, you can learn how to use AI. So the goal isn't to be a tech expert, it's to build systems that make running a business easier. Let's see what else. Let me check and make sure there's nothing in the chat. Will AI replace me or my employees? No. AI handles repetitive tasks. It can't replace your expertise, your relationships, or your experience that you create with your clients. So think of it as support, but not a substitute. If you already have a executive assistant or something like that in your business that already helps you, that's amazing. But you can hand this to them to have them help them with their work. So it helps everybody be more proficient, and it keeps everybody on the same page. And how long does it take to build an AI employee is another one I get. Your first one usually takes the longest because you're learning the process, but after that, it gets much easier. And you're not starting from scratch anymore. You're simply creating another employee with a different job. What if AI gives the wrong answer? So I would always say that's why every AI employee needs clear instructions and boundaries. Just like a new team member, it needs training. So it should always know when to hand the conversation off to you instead of just guessing or giving wrong information. So you can train it to do that. And lastly, is it expensive? So I know I showed you tools that I use. So I'm utilized to build the one that I have is I have the Claude, the Pro version. So I'm paying $20 a month for Claude. And I have the paid version of Canva, which I think is also $20 a month. So for $40 a month, I was able to build this AI employee. And I have so many other tools that actually I utilize. But honestly, you can get started with free to very low pricing. Um, my advice is to, again, solve one problem first. So invest in what you need to solve that one problem first, and then let it start saving you time and bringing you in more business, and then you can build it from there. But that's my 2 cents. All right, let me check, make sure there's no other comments. There's not. So let's see. All right. So before we go, we always in the way every good brunch should. Raise your coffee, your tea, your water. That's what I have today. Your matcha, your mimosa, or whatever you're sipping today. Here's to building a business that supports you instead of depending on you. Here's to finding more time for the work that only you can do. Here's to taking repetitive work off your plate. Here's to serving your clients well without carrying the weight of every single task yourself. And here's to finally getting the help that you've been wishing you had for God knows how long, right? Cheers, bosses. So let me take a drink of my water. Cheers. So this week, I hope you complete your boss's challenge. Give your AI employee a job. Take one responsibility off your plate. Put what you've learned into practice and see what happens when your business has a little extra support. Every AI employee you build is another way your business can continue serving people, following up with leads, and staying organized, even when you're busy living your life. So thank you so much for spending your afternoon with me. I hope you learned something new. I hope you feel inspired. And most of all, I hope that you leave knowing that you don't have to do everything alone. I hope that resonated with you, because I know sometimes that's how I feel like I have to do everything alone. I'll see you right back here next Wednesday for the Money is in the Follow-Up Sis Brunch. And until then, I hope you have an amazing week, and I'll see you at the brunch table. Cheers. All right, let me see if no messages in the chat. I'll stop sharing. All right, beautiful people. See you next week.